Tell me a Parsha story. Welcome to Parsha Pals.
Meet Rabbi Kahneman. The year is 1944. The city is Bnei Brak in Israel. And we're at the ceremony of laying a cornerstone for the Yeshiva of Panovich in Bnei Brak. And Rabbi Kahneman got up to speak in front of thousands of people, and he said to them, the laying of the cornerstone didn't start today. It happened decades ago in Lithuania, in the city of Kul, where I was born and where I was growing up. It was very cold there in the winters, and my family was extremely, extremely poor. There was one coat and one pair of boots that was shared between me and my brothers. And one night before we went to school, there was a big conversation happening in our home because we all knew that we couldn't all go to school in the frigid weather the next day without boots and a coat. So only one child was going to have the opportunity to go to school. And my oldest brother said, I want to be the one to be able to get the coat and the boots and go to school tomorrow. We're learning Mishnah. I don't want to miss any of the Mishnah learning. And his other brother said, well, we're starting to learn Chumash tomorrow. We're going to be learning Bereshis. I don't want to miss that. And the youngest, little Rabbi Kahneman, who wasn't a rabbi yet, said, I'm going to be learning Aleph Bet in my school tomorrow. I don't want to miss that. And their mom said, boys, go to sleep well. It'll all sort itself out. And so the brothers went to sleep, hoping, each of them hoping that they would be the winner, that they would get that ticket, so to speak, of being able to wear the coat and the boots and go to school the next day to learn. Very, very early in the morning, Mrs. Kahneman woke up her oldest son. She gently tapped him on the shoulder and said, it's time to wake up. Modeh ani lefanecha. It's time to get up and get dressed. And this older brother was thinking, I won. I'm the one that gets to go to school. I'm so excited. He got dressed as quickly as he could, and his mother helped him with the boots and wrapped him in the warm coat, and she put on a pair of boots and a warm coat, and it was so snowy, and the snow was too deep because he was still a little boy, even though he was the oldest brother, and Mrs. Kahneman carried him all the way to school in the freezing, frigid weather, walking through the heavy snow. She got to the school, dropped him off, gave him a big, big hug and kiss, and took the coat and took the boots and carried them in her hand and walked all the way back home. And it was still very early in the morning. She tapped on her next son's shoulder and said, good morning. It's time to wake up. And he woke up and said, Modeh ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shechazarta bi nishmati b'chamla rabba emunatecha. Did I win? He was thinking in his head. I guess I'm the winner. I got that special ticket. I get to go today to school and learn the Holy Torah. Yay! And his mom said, okay, get dressed. We're going to be leaving soon. And she helped wrap her young son in a coat and helped him put his boots on. She put her coat back on and her boots. She carried him in her arms because, as we said, the snow was way too deep for a child to walk in. And in that frigid, snowy weather, Mrs. Kahneman carried her second son all the way to school. And it was windy, and their faces were burning from the cold. They got to school. He was so happy to be there. She gave him a big hug and kiss when she dropped him off and said, have a really great day. Learn well. And then she trudged home again in the freezing, frigid, snowy weather. And it was still very early in the morning. And when she got home, she tapped on the shoulder of her little son, who later became Rabbi Kahneman, and said, good morning, good morning. It's time to wake up. And he thought, yes, I'm going to get to learn the alphabet today. I won the ticket. I get to go to school. And after he said his Modeh Ani and washed up and got dressed, his mom wrapped him in that same coat and put the same boots on him and put her boots and coat back on, lifted him up and carried him all the way in the freezing, frigid weather to the yeshiva, dropped him off, and all three boys were able to be in school that day because this mom, Mrs. Kahneman, she was all in, not a little bit in. She let herself get so cold and walked so far because she wanted each of her children to be able to have the opportunity to learn Torah. And so Rabbi Kahneman explained this cornerstone of this yeshiva that we are now laying in the city of Bnei Brak, the cornerstone was laid on that morning when my mother trudged through the snow so that all of us could go and learn Torah. This week's Parsha, Parashat Ki Tavo, means when you come, when you enter. When you enter Eretz Yisrael, you are going to have the mitzvah of Bikurim. V'haya ki tavo el haaretz asher Hashem Elokecha noten lecha nachala v'yirishta v'yashavta ba v'lakachta mireshit kol peri ha'adama, etc. When does this mitzvah start? When does the mitzvah of Bikurim begin? Does it begin the minute they step foot in Israel? Well, Rashi asks that question because it says Ki Tavo. Does it start as soon as Yehoshua leads the people in and they step in? And Rashi teaches us, Magid shelo nitchayvu bebikurim ad shekavshu et haaretz v'chilkuha. The Jews did not need to start bringing Bikurim, the first of their fruit of the Shivat Haminim, until 7 years of conquering, 7 years of settling, 14 years after they entered Eretz Yisrael. Why? Because they needed to be all in, fully in, conquered, settled. Then they were able to begin this special mitzvah that they were only able to do in Eretz Yisrael. Mrs. Kahneman was all in enabling her children to learn, and that was very inspirational for all of them. The mitzvah of Bikurim happens when we're all in, fully settled in Israel. My bracha to each of us is that every mitzvah that we do today and every day, whether we're setting the table for our family for Shabbos, whether we're helping a younger sibling, whether we just finished eating and we're benching, let's learn from this week's Parsha and from Mrs. Kahneman and her children that when we do a mitzvah, we are all in and give it 100% of ourselves. Shabbat Shalom to all.